What is going on, FA Nation? John Pemba here with Howard Bender. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NFL DFS Playbook Show. We are looking at the 8-game Sunday main slate, Howard. That's right. We have just 8 games this week.
9 if you play it on FanDuel.
9 if you're on FanDuel. 8 if you're on DraftKings. We are looking at the DraftKings slate here, but Howard likes to throw some FanDuel nuggets at everybody there. You got the Atlanta-Washington game on Sunday Night Football. But
that's a big game for DFS purposes. Knowing that Marshawn Lattimore is out, knowing that, I mean, they're expecting a bunch of rain there also. Yep. The game is in Washington. And, but yeah, I think, when you're dealing with something like that, whether it's using Jaden Daniels as your quarterback in DFS on FanDuel, that's the late night hammer that we know and love so much. So
very much so. And that came through with the Sunday Night Football last week. If you play Tampa Bay, you had plenty of fantasy goodness coming.
Yeah, I had Bucky Irving. Mike Evans came up a little short for me, but whatever.
But anyways, with Christmas week here, we had 2 games on Christmas. We had the Thursday Night Football game. We got 3 games on Saturday. So all of that is taking out our main slate for Sunday. Also, the weather. The weather is going to be absolutely miserable along the East Coast for most of the country, actually. It's going to rain. It's going to be cold in some places. It may snow in some other places. So that's really going to be the big story of this slate as well, especially as we get closer to Sunday, closer to roster lock, seeing if the weather can clear out. Because you're going to be playing in some wet weather in a lot of areas, except for one notable game, which we'll talk about, because they play in a dome, Howard. So good looks on them. So with this 8 games, we do go position by position. We appreciate all of you who have tuned in. If you don't already aware, we got our holiday sale going on right now. It's 50% off for the 2025 calendar year on our All-Pro monthly subscription. That's $19.98 a month for the year. 50% off our usual package. If you cancel it, you got to go back to paying full price. So why not sign up now? fantasy.com/holiday. Promo code FA Holiday will automatically fill in for you and get access to all of the rest of our NFL DFS content, which goes through the Super Bowl. But also you get your draft guides and your cheat sheets for your fantasy baseball leagues. You get your NBA and NHL DFS. PGA DFS starting back up this week with the Century. We have a new PGA DFS writer on staff there as well. So go check out Jacob Parry. He's going to be joining and doing a lot of PGA DFS content for us. We got the MMA DFS. NASCAR starting back up in February with Daytona. So perfect time to join and pay 50% to get all that content out.
It's really simple. All sports, season long, DFS, betting content, draft guides, cheat sheets, Discord access to all of us. So it's a no-brainer. It's the best deal that we've thrown out there for everybody, and it's literally the best deal in fantasy sports. So.
Really is the best. So with the best, let's give you a little taste with our DFS show here today. Starting off at the quarterback position on DraftKings, Josh Allen's $8,500 home against the New York Jets, who may be without Aaron Rodgers, maybe without Devontae Adams. We'll have to see if they decide to play or not as the season winds down, both dealing with injuries. Baker Mayfield is $6,900. Sam Darnold and Jordan Love face off against one another, $6,400 and $6,200. Again, 8 games, pricing drops off pretty dramatically, so we'll just kind of end it there. Last week, you were not in, and you were correctly not in on paying up for Josh Allen. Do you feel the same way this week with the matchup against the Jets?
I don't love it, but I'm going to build a GPP tournament lineup with Josh Allen in it. Just simply because he can drop a 40 burger on it, because, like I said last time, he didn't need to be Superman to do it. But if anybody watched any broadcast or read any article after the Christmas Day games, and all that MVP love was going Lamar Jackson's way, does that affect Josh Allen mentally? In the form of, you know what, I got to go out here. I want this MVP. I'm going to go be a hero, and I'm going to go beat the snot out of my division rival Jets. So there is a little piece of me that says that, but I love Baker Mayfield here at 6,900 going up against the Carolina Panthers. They rank low in DVOA against the run, against the pass. This is an important game for Tampa Bay. They need to win this game if they want to, take the division away from the Atlanta Falcons. So I think Baker Mayfield, not to mention Mike Evans, 180 some odd yards shy of his 11th straight 1,000-yard season. I think that Baker wants to get him that, right? He talks about being the fun QB. So this is like, be the player that your teammates want you to be, and help out there. So I dig that. And then there's Sam Darnold, who I like more than I like Jordan Love. Threw for 275 and 3 touchdowns the last time he faced the Green Bay Packers. Packers do a great job stopping the run. So, maybe they pull back a little bit on Aaron Jones this time around and just let Sammy throw the ball. I think that's kind of, where I'm looking. No Jair Alexander in the secondary for Green Bay.
Yep.
No, Baker and Darnold are probably my 2 favorite pay ups at quarterback.
Sure. Both of those plays were written up in the quarterback coach here. The cover of the quarterback coach, though, Howard. So maybe you didn't check it out. Jordan Love is on the cover of the quarterback coach. He's also my favorite play of the week. You talk about that matchup with Sam Darnold. You got to go back to week 4, his first game back from that injury. He threw for 389 and 4 scores. Yeah, he had 3 picks, but he still threw for 34 fantasy points in that game. The volume there, this is supposed to be high scoring. It's competitive. And as I alluded to, it's in a dome. So they're not going to have to deal with any of the weather concerns that any other team game is going to have to deal with. That's basically on this slate. I understand that there's likely no Watson in this game, but Wicks is proven just to be as capable. Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, and Minnesota is also good against the run. So it's really going to force, I think, both of these teams to kind of lean on their passing attack here. Jordan Love's having a great year throwing the football, as is Sam Darnold. Honestly, I think this is going to be a shootout. I think we're going to get more passing production out of Jordan Love this week than we've seen in recent weeks and in recent matchups where, again, he's been great, but Josh Jacobs is out there just running touchdown after touchdown, taking away some of his fantasy potential. So I think both of those quarterbacks in that game are pretty elite. The next tier down, I think, is kind of interesting as well. We have Anthony Richardson. We think he's questionable. He hasn't practiced all week. We'll see whether or not he can suit up. It's obviously a really good spot against the Giants. I get that there's the rain, but we're not playing Anthony Richardson for his passing ability. He only completed 7 of 11 pass attempts last week and still got you over 20 fantasy points. I'm out on Tua. You had him in your value video for DFS this week, or contrarian video for one of the two. He was the quarterback on. He's injured a little bit. Jalen Waddle's hurt. They're in Cleveland on the road. I'm not really in on Tua there. But Bryce Young, to me, I think is appealing going up against Tampa Bay at $5,600.
Bryce Young, who just showed up on Friday's injury report with a little bit of a hamstring issue. They say he's going to play. I mean, everybody's in on Bryce Young. Everybody's so trendy right now. Like everybody's like suddenly like a big, huge Panthers fan. I get it, man. He's definitely he's turned things around for himself. He's shown a lot more. And I like it. And this game could go back and forth. Tampa Bay does not have a good secondary. They've got a good run defense. They don't have a good secondary. So I'm okay with Bryce Young. I'm probably not going to land on him though. In this matchup, I think if I'm looking for, a spend down, I'm probably, if I don't stay with Darnold, Love, Baker Mayfield, if I don't go with one of those 3, then I think I'm paying all the way down, and I'm going dirt cheap on Mason Rudolph.
Okay, Mason Rudolph made a quarterback coach this week. I like that.
It's Jacksonville ranks dead last in every defensive metric. They're a little better against the run than they are against the pass. Mason Rudolph has just been slinging the rock, but what I like here also is that, especially if I can use Mason Rudolph, I know that I'm stacking with him.
Yeah,
and I'm stacking probably Calvin Ridley and Chigakonkwo because that's where he's throwing it. He's not throwing it to anybody else. Mm-hmm. Nick Westbrook-Akine, he gets like 3 targets a game. Maybe he catches 1 or 2 passes. You hope that it's going to be a touchdown, but everything seems to be consolidated around Calvin Ridley and Chigakonkwo. So I like what Mason Rudolph has done so far. He also can, add to it with his legs. So I think I'm just paying down for that, that lame duck matchup that he's got.
No, I like it. I like the Mason Rudolph call. I also think that there's potentially some appeal with Aiden O'Connell. I get it. Hasn't thrown a touchdown in 2 weeks here. Saints defense is terrible. I still believe in Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers here.
Oh, I definitely believe in Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers. I just don't necessarily believe in Aiden O'Connell.
I mean, the yardage was great last week, right? 257, completed 63% of his passes. It just, for whatever reason, Amir Abdullah like ran for touchdowns and like can't really find that off. But I think there's a good spot here if you wanted to go Aiden. And I agree. I think spending down is interesting. If Richardson's out, do you have interest in Joe Flacco?
No, because I think if they got Joe Flacco, it's against the Giants. He doesn't need to throw it 40 times a game, and that's where Joe Flacco is most valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm happy to use Josh Downs, but I'm not going to use Joe Flacco because I know that Jonathan Taylor is going to get just an ass load of work.
Sure. All right, let's go running back position here then.
Yeah.
A funner position to discuss.
Spend up, spend up, spend up.
We got Saquon Barkley against Dallas with no Jalen Hurts, needing 300 yards, something like that.
Find a way to get him in there, right? Kenny Pickett. How much? I bet you they run like the Wildcat, direct snaps to Saquon Barkley a ton in this one here. I definitely think they want him to get this record, and it's all lined up for it here against Dallas. Not to break the record. He's not going to run for 300 yards, but they're going to get him as much as they can possibly get him in this matchup.
Yeah. It's also not outside the realm of possibility. He does have 255-yard game on his ledger this year, so they could just feed him the rock here in Dallas. Run defense has been atrocious all season long. So you have that spot. Then you do have Jonathan Taylor, who just came off of a 218-yard rushing game last week.
Yep.
Whether it's A-Ridge or Flacco, he's going to be getting the football in this matchup against the Giants. It could be sloppy and rainy. Even more of a reason to run the football here. Good to see that Taylor still has it. The last 3 weeks, he gained half of his seasons of yards on the year. So,
better late than never.
Yeah. What was the Miami running back that did that? Do you remember who I'm trying to think of here? A few years back, basically half of his seasonal yardage came on like a couple of games there.
No, I don't remember.
All right. Well, if I can think of it, I'll recall.
Was it Larry Zonka?
No, it's a few years back. It was like not Kenyon Drake, but somebody else around that same timeline there. All right, so you got Taylor, you got Barkley. If you want to go Jacobs again, he's been a touchdown machine. You can, but Minnesota tough to run against. Bucky Irving, I think, is the spot to go. We liked Baker. We talked it all up. Carolina's run defense is as bad as it is in the league. So Irving could be well on his way to another big night.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Bucky Irving and everything that he's done. I've been, so I've just been very much in on it. I did one of those videos over at the Fantasy Alarm here at the Fantasy Alarm YouTube page. If you go to the shorts, my week 17 running backs talking about Bucky, 200-yard games in his last four touchdowns in his last 6. And he was doing all of that while playing through injury. So now you've got him going up against Carolina. I think Bucky Irving is a fantastic play. Bucky Irving is a fantastic cash game play. But everybody's going to be in on him because it's Carolina. Mm-hmm. My GPP play here, as you probably saw in the Contrarian Corner video, John, Rachaad White.
Right.
I mean, we'll lump them together here. I know he's further down the list, and we'll just look at that as a possible pay down. But a 50% snap share, active in the passing game, right? What he was getting double-digit carries until last week, where he only saw like 3, but he ended up with like 7 catches in that game as well. So I like Rachaad White as sort of a contrarian play to Bucky Irving.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Again, both of those guys are involved in the offense there. Trying to think what else we might take a peek at. I mean, there is Aaron Jones who gets involved in the game. Jerome Ford was really good last week.
Yeah. I mean, down there, not really. I mean, this is it's kind of funny. I'm looking to like build some crazy stacks and stuff like that over on FanDuel just so that I can try and get Barkley and Taylor in my lineup together. And then maybe try and even go nuts and get Bijan in as my flex since I'm allowed to use the Sunday night game.
Do we think Tajay Spears is he's rushing for touchdowns at a horrible efficiency, but he is being used in the passing game pretty frequently here. Tennessee Jacksonville could play a competitive game where Spears is used.
I think you can definitely definitely use Tajay Spears as like a GPP play.
Yeah.
Right. Pollard is questionable. He'll play. He's expected to play, but they've talked like that was how it was set up last week as well. They like using Tajay Spears. And it's, whatever. It's the end of the game. It's a throwaway game. So why wouldn't it be, something that we can kind of get into?
I alluded to Amir Abdullah, 7 for 30 and a rushing touchdown. But now last 2 weeks, 12 catches, 13 targets. Aiden O'Connell check down king now all of a sudden to Amir Abdullah.
I guess it's such a dirty play. But
Alexander Madison is trash, right? They don't have.
He definitely is. Yes,
they don't have Amir White, so I think Amir Abdullah could be.
But didn't Madison just have a good game? Didn't they just split the reps like 50-50?
I mean, good game I guess. I mean, his efficiency was as poor. I'm actually surprised to see 7 targets, but obviously Abdullah was better in the passing game overall. I don't know. I would rather play Abdullah for cheaper than Madison for 5,600.
Okay. I mean, listen, I'm fine with it. I'm probably not that interested in either player. I'm just not going to build a lineup with that. I'm not, I'm not a 150 lineup person. I'm not even a 20 lineup person.
Right.
I like building a strong cash lineup, a strong pivot cash lineup. I like to play that strong cash lineup in my GPP contest. And maybe I'll do like, 1 or 2 other, GPP lineups, like with some stacks that I like. But I'm not like neither running back for the Raiders is on my radar as somebody who I really want to use.
Sure. All right. Wide receiver position here. Justin Jefferson, your top guy, $8,300. You mentioned no Jair Alexander. AJ Brown got to deal with Kenny Pickett now, but again, Dallas's defense is falling apart. Then there's the Mike Evans, chasing history here, 11 straight 1,000-yard season. I could see Jeff and Evans both being pretty popular options here.
I mean, Evans is definitely going to be a super chalky play, right? I'm definitely think that Evans is definitely somebody we're going to lock in. Jefferson, I think, is great with no Jair Alexander. I won't touch AJ Brown.
No.
I'm not going to touch him with Kenny Pickett, even though he was taken off the injury report today, which we're all very grateful for. But like, what do we want? Jefferson, yes. Evans, I think, is going to be a chalky must. And I like Devontae Adams here. If we're just kind of looking through some of these top guys, I know he's banged up. I believe he is expected to play. John Mpemba, Aaron Rodgers is currently sitting on 499 touchdown passes in his career.
Sure.
Guess who's getting number 500?
You thinking Adams suits up here?
It ain't Tyler Conklin.
That's fair.
I think he does suit up.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, he could. It's obviously an okay spot for him. Brian Thomas Jr. has been great, $6,800. Again, the target share. Mac Jones has been much only throwing to him. Can't argue with the Rook at $6,800. I've been big on Jordan Addison. Again, I know Justin Jefferson's in a good spot, but Addison equally on that side as well. Then you get the rest of the sort of value tier because, again, smaller slate, player pool shorter, pricing starts to jump off pretty quickly here.
Pricing does seem to jump off pretty quickly. There is, there's not a lot to love in that realm. When we talk about Jacoby Myers, I'm fine with that, especially if you're building a cash lineup. To me, there's not much of a ceiling there. You're getting them for the targets.
Yeah.
Right. I kind of feel like in similar fashion about Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen and Jacoby Myers are kind of the same here. But I mean, listen, you can't argue against Thielen's targets.
No.
Right. And he gives you great correlation going up against Tampa Bay if you want to stack in any way. I think that he's definitely in a good spot. In that realm. Let me pull it up here on my screen so that I can actually see it because I've got huge fonts here right now. All right. So in this middle area here, Jacoby Myers, yes, in cash. Calvin Ridley, I think, is probably the name that we should probably be paying attention to also.
Sure. You mentioned Mason Rudolph, right? I mean, he had 3 for 78 4. Top target on that offense, $5,500, great price against Jacksonville. So Won't really argue too much with you on that one. Again, I like Romeo Dubs at $5,100.
Yes, I do too.
Again, I understand 2 for 20 last week, not great, but didn't need him in that game. So I don't mind that at the pricing. And then where's
Jalen McMillan?
Yeah, McMillan's fine. 4,600. Better late run out of him, right? 4 touchdowns the last 3 weeks. That's a pretty good call. It's 46.
Josh Downs?
Only if I think I'd only play Downs if it's
Flacco.
Flacco, yeah. Can't go. A guy completed 7 passes last week. If it's Richardson, I'm out.
Oh no, I'm with you. I'm with you.
But Dontavian Wicks, big fantasy, getting their end of season run out here. $3,900, 7 targets, had a touchdown last week. Could be him.
Yeah, if Watson doesn't play and it could be Dontavian Wicks there, yeah, I would look at that. I mean, I would look at that. Wicks is where's his price? Oh, he's all the way down at
39. That's what I'm saying. So cheap.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely there. I mean, he's significantly cheaper than some of these other guys. There's nobody else really around him that I would use. So I don't mind little Dontavian Wicks here. I think that's a solid possibility.
Sure. Any other wide receivers?
Any other wide receivers? Let's see. Where am I scrolling down? How deep do we want to go?
I'm asking. I mean, again, the player pool falls off pretty quickly because we only have 8 games or 9 games if you're over on.
Okay, well, if you're over on FanDuel, then you know what? You want to pay down. How about Olamide Zaccheaus?
Sure.
I mean, listen, I like in that night game there. I like, obviously Drake London's banged up, but there's no Marshawn Lattimore, so I love Darnell Mooney in this one here because I also think that one of the things Zach Robinson's going to have Michael Penix do is look downfield a little bit more.
Sure.
And, it's just the natural progression of developing a quarterback. The fact that Lattimore is out is going to be even better for Drake London. So if London is healthy, he'll probably get peppered with a bunch of targets. That should open up something for Mooney downfield, or at least I'm kind of hoping in that realm. And then if you want to go like deep dive there, how about Olamide Zaccheaus, who has become the number 2 wide receiver over in Washington, and he's got a little revenge game narrative for you, Johnny.
Sure. I like it. Not bad options here. And then, of course, you have some of the Carolina wide receivers if you wanted to pick one outside of Thielen, whether it be Coker or Moore had the touchdown catch last week. So we'll see how that lineup ends up playing out. If Adams was to sit, Allen Lazard just as likely to catch a 500 touchdown than anybody else, right? So.
Yeah, if Adams sits, I will 100% put an anytime touchdown prop bet on Allen Lazard. I won't use him in DFS. I tried it 2 weeks ago, John.
I know.
He dropped the touchdown pass on me, so F him.
All right, tight ends. Bowers, $6,700. Again, we've talked a lot of value on this slate, especially at quarterback position. So Bowers very much in play here against New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of in a tier of his own. What are your thoughts on sort of the rest of the position? You've mentioned a couple of value plays. Chikakonkwo is down there.
Yeah. All right. So here, I'll just run it down here. Bowers, I love him, obviously. And he's a target monster. And you hope that he gets into the end zone there. I don't mind Jonnu Smith, but we're going to see a ton of rain over there. TJ Hawkinson has a great matchup here. Green Bay's like 20th in DVOA against the tight end position. The only issue is obviously that he doesn't see like big targets, and that's kind of a bummer there. Maybe you use him in a GPP lineup if you're thinking about like stacking some, Minnesota Vikings, and you do something like that, then you throw him in there. But I'm not sure how I feel about him as a one-off. Dalton Kincaid, kind of in a similar boat there as well. They're priced very similarly. I like Dalton Kincaid, enough that because Coop is. Talking about today, we were on the Fantasy Alarm Show, and we were talking about the player that you want to play, that you're going to play, that nobody else wants to play. And I was like, Cooper Kupp. Nobody wants to play Cooper Kupp anymore. Right. He said Dalton Kincaid. So I'll give the shout out to Dalton Kincaid. It is up against the Jets, who suck at football, So, And Dalton Kincaid's been consistently seeing since week 5. I think he's averaging like 6 targets per game. So he's getting that kind of consistent look.
Definitely. I don't mind that. $4,300. good option there.
Okay. I like Jake Ferguson if you want to throw if you want to chase a touchdown.
Yeah, no CD, right? They shut him down or no?
They shut down CD Lamb,
Yeah.
right? So you'll have, but I mean, you get between Jalen Tolbert and Brandon Cooks and what was it, Jalen Brooks, the other guy there. Like those guys are going to get their looks also. I don't mind Ferguson. I think he's okay. Chigakonkwo is like the guy right now. 21 targets in the last 2 games, 17 catches, 140 yards. Mason Rudolph is throwing to him and he's throwing to Calvin Ridley. And that's basically it. It's one of the things that we liked about Brenton Strange when he was playing. We're not in on him, even though he's off the injury report. I'm just not in on him right now. But it was like the consolidated targets. There was either going to Brian Thomas or it was going to Brenton Strange. This is a very similar situation with Okonkwo and Ridley. So I'm definitely fine using Okonkwo, especially at this price at 3,600. I like that. You want to go lower? Splash a little Tommy Tremble in your lives. He split snaps with Jatavian Sanders, but he is seeing more targets than Jatavian Sanders. And Tampa Bay ranks like 27th in DVOA against the tight end position, giving up like the 5th or 6th most fantasy points per game to them. So I think that's kind of your where you're paying down.
Okay. Yeah, that works for me. Conklin does get some targets, 5, 5, and 7 last couple of games. He's not terrible for $2,900. For his current usage in that offense there.
Payne Durham. Coop was talking about Payne Durham for Tampa Bay. Yeah. He's replacing Cade Otton. Look at that picture. Look at that mug.
That's a tight end for you right there.
That is definitely a tight end for you.
Out. Yeah. Yep. Otton's out. All right. That works for me. $2,900. All right. Defenses here. Now, again, it's going to be wet weather in a lot of spots on this slate here. Do you got a preference of defense?
Isn't everybody just paying down for the Raiders?
It feels that way, right?
Right. That's like the chalkiest defense in the world, and it's super cheap. It's $2,600. I think the Raiders are like, where are they on? They're 3,200. They're the second least expensive defense over on FanDuel. So if you want to go chalk there with the Raiders, I think you can kind of get away with that. Otherwise, I like the Dolphins against Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I think he stinks on ice.
He sure does. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be rainy and can't really throw in that game. So
I kind of like. You ready for this one here? I mean, just in a contrarian sort of a way, but Tua in the cold, in the rain. Myles Garrett. Would you go with the Browns D?
Yeah, I don't mind it. Again, it's all about sacks, right? And we've seen Tua really play poorly on the road at times. Rainy, windy. It's actually not going to be as cold. It's supposed to be like 50 degrees, but it's just going to be rain. So,
okay.
I don't mind that. I think spending down makes a lot of sense. I could consider even going the Cowboys, with Kenny Pickett. I mean, they do get after the quarterback. They are turning the football over, and they're not going to run. They should, but they're not going to run Saquon like 40 times in this game. So there's still a chance the Cowboys defense at $2,500 can come through, because that's another game that's supposed to be like rainy and crappy. So
yeah, I think. I think the good thing is that there's enough rain all over the place, and there are enough pay downs that we also like the Raiders against the Saints in the Superdome.
Yeah,
right. Like there's enough of that where it's like build your lineup, then figure out your defense.
I agree.
Right, just whatever's available.
All right, well, let's do that then. Let's build our lineup and figure out our defense here.
Okay. All right.
So let's see here.
I mean, I built a little something if you want.
What do you got? Yeah, sure. What do you got?
Put Baker Mayfield in there.
Okay. I figured that's where we're going. Okay.
Right.
Yep.
Got to get Saquon, don't you?
Yep.
All right. This is where we go with my contrarian running back pick. Pay down for Rachaad White.
Okay.
Because I think Carolina keeps this competitive enough that Rachaad White sees like 5 or 6 catches in this one too.
Sure.
At wide receiver, you have to have Michael Evans.
Okay.
Right? And why wouldn't you have Adam Thielen coming back against that stack?
All right.
Let's assume that Joey Flacco is the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. Can I have Josh Downs, please, at 4,800?
Downs it is.
Can we get Chiggy with it at the tight end position?
Sure.
An homage to Coop, the Dalton Kincaid play.
Now we got $2,900 for a defense, which I guess would be your Raiders play.
Well, you could do the Raiders down there at 26. We could go the Browns at 24 and see if maybe we pay up a little bit more and see what other flex we can get besides Kincaid.
$4,800 flex with the Browns.
Yeah, you know. Monster, Pierce, Pittman,
McMillan.
Oh,
full stack, full four-man.
Do we dare do the 4-man stack?
4-man stack against Tampa Bay. I mean, we don't even have to use White if you don't want to. We can just go to both wide receivers and give us
Tajay Spears.
Tajay Spears, sure. Tajay Spears works. There you go. There you go. Mayfield.
How easy was that, man?
Mayfield, Barkley, Spears, Evans, Thielen, Downs, Conquo, McMillan, and the Browns defense. If there is no Joe Flacco.
Okay. See, now you're speaking my language. 5,200.
Romeo Dubs.
You could go, yeah, Romeo Dubs is definitely an option. Wait, unclick that again. Let me just look at some of the names in that.
Sure.
Yeah, no, Dubs is the, okay. So do that. Splash them in there.
Mayfield, Barkley, Spears, Evans, Thielen, Dubs, Okonkwo, McMillan, and the Browns defense, giving you the full game stack. Tampa Bay, Carolina, with some value plays mixed in there on the Tennessee side against Jacksonville. Could be a good one there, Howard.
It could be a good one there. You want something fun for FanDuel also?
Sure.
You're not going to be able to build this one. Let's put these players in. Oh, no, you can't.
No, I'll put them in. I can't play the Atlanta-Washington game. So
right. So that's, darn it. That's my Bijan play.
Sorry.
Just think about this. You can build this lineup on FanDuel. Mason Rudolph, Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor. All right. Calvin Ridley. Dontavian Wicks. Adam Thielen.
Okay.
Chigakonkwo.
Chigakonkwo is here somewhere there. Okay.
Then the Raiders defense.
And you had Bijan here?
And I've got Bijan in the flex there. You
could replacing Bijan, we'll go James Cook. So
No, you get for it's FanDuel. Let's go with a receiver. Let's get a receiver in there.
Yeah,
oh hell, dude, Devontae Adams if he plays, why the hell not?
Yeah.
Look at that.
All right, so FanDuel lineup then. FanDuel, Rudolph, Barkley, Taylor, Ridley, Wicks, Thielen, Okonkwo would be Bijan. Otherwise, with Devontae Adams and the Raiders.
Damn, I love that. I'm ready to. John.
Yeah.
Are you ready to win millions?
Hopefully. Week 8. Geez.
Week 17.
Week 17, 8-game slate on DraftKings 9-game. On FanDuel, we'll have the full playbook out for all of you. We'll also have a 3-game playbook for the Saturday slate, so be on the lookout for there. Coop and I will be here on Sunday morning to get you all ready for roster lock, Bender and Coop, before us over on Sirius XM from 10 to 11, getting you ready for the slate to answer your questions. Until then, everybody, good luck. Get us in the Discord. Join the family, get the holiday sale, get us on Twitter. We'll talk to you later.